I'm 97 years old, and people often look at me and ask, "What's your secret?" They expect me to hand them a long list of supplements, an exotic diet, or some complicated fitness routine. But when I tell them I only do 3 exercises after 60, they look surprised, sometimes even disappointed, as if they were hoping for a magic formula. Yet the truth is, longevity has never been about how much we do. It's about doing the right things consistently with intention. When I turned 60, I realized something powerful. The body doesn't need punishment to stay young, it needs partnership. I had spent years chasing strength through intensity, speed, and volume. But as I got older, I learned that the real strength we build after 60 comes from harmony between the body and the mind. I began listening to my body, not fighting it. Every H, every limitation became a message instead of an obstacle. That's when I discovered the power of 3 exercises that have carried me through nearly 4 decades of healthy, vibrant living. The first is movement that connects breath and balance. I do slow, intentional stretches every morning, what some might call a form of meditation in motion. These movements wake up every joint, every muscle, and remind my nervous system that I am alive and capable. It's not about how far I stretch, but how deeply I feel the stretch. When you reach your arms toward the sky in the morning, take in a deep breath, and feel your spine lengthen, you're not just moving your body. You're telling your cells, "Wake up, we have another day to live." This daily ritual became my reset button. It improved my posture, my mood, my sleep, and even my digestion. The second exercise is walking. Not the kind of walking that's about counting steps or chasing calories, but the kind that reconnects you with your surroundings. I walk every single day, rain or shine. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. But I always do it with purpose. When I walk, I breathe deeply, notice the air, the light, the sound of leaves crunching under my feet. That kind of mindful walking changes your biology. It lowers stress hormones, improves blood flow, and even stimulates the growth of new blood vessels in the brain. It's nature's version of medicine, and it's free. The beauty of walking is that it's accessible to almost everyone, and yet it carries the power to reset nearly every system in the body, from your heart to your gut, from your immune system to your emotions. The third exercise is something people often forget: resistance training. Not heavy weights, not extreme routines, but small, consistent muscle engagement. I lift light weights or even use my body weight. Push-ups against a wall, squats from a chair, lifting small dumbbells while I watch the evening news. Muscles are the engines of longevity. The more we keep them active, the more efficiently our metabolism works. After 60, muscle loss becomes the silent thief of vitality. But it's reversible. Every time you challenge a muscle, even gently, you're telling your body, "I still need you." And the body responds. It builds, repairs, and regenerates. Over time, these 3 exercises didn't just strengthen my body, they rewired my relationship with aging. I stopped seeing aging as a decline and started seeing it as a transformation. When I was younger, I thought aging meant losing something. But now I realize it's about gaining something: deeper awareness, gratitude, and wisdom. Each movement became a conversation with my future self. Every step I took, every stretch I made, every light lift I performed, it was an investment in more days like this one. Science has shown us that our blood vessels, our muscles, our immune cells, and even our brain cells can regenerate throughout life. There's no off switch. At 60 or 70 or 80, the body doesn't retire unless you tell it to. These 3 exercises act as gentle signals that tell your biology, keep going. Movement is information, and your cells are always listening. When you move with intention, you activate healing systems that medication can't mimic. You release growth factors, improve blood flow, and ignite repair mechanisms that keep the body youthful from the inside out. Most people believe longevity is about genetics, but I've seen with my own eyes and in my own life that it's mostly about choices. The human body is remarkably forgiving. You can spend decades sitting at a desk, eating the wrong foods or neglecting your body, and yet the moment you decide to move, the body responds. Within days, your blood circulation improves. Within weeks, your muscles strengthen. Within months, your energy and clarity return. It's never too late. I'm proof of that. At 97, I still wake up with energy. I still cook, read, walk, and laugh. I don't chase youth, I nurture health. The 3 exercises I do every day are simple, but they are sacred. They are reminders that vitality doesn't belong to the young. It belongs to the consistent. We lose our energy not because of time, but because we stop using it. The body thrives on demand. When you give it purpose, it gives you back life. I tell people don't underestimate small movements. When you move, even for 5 minutes, your blood vessels expand, your heart beats stronger, your brain lights up. You send oxygen and nutrients to places that may have been dormant for years. The secret to longevity isn't hidden in complexity, it's hidden in consistency. People often ask, don't you get bored doing the same exercises every day? I smile, because after 60, what I found isn't boredom. It's mastery. When you do simple things deeply, they transform you. It's not the variety that changes you, it's the depth of your presence. Every stretch, every step, every lift carries a whisper you are still capable. You are still here. I've seen many of my friends, even those younger than me, give up on their bodies too soon. They say, I'm old now. What's the point? The point is life itself. Movement keeps you connected to it. You don't move because you're young. You stay young because you move. The more you move, the more your body learns that it's still needed, still valuable. That sense of usefulness creates resilience. I don't measure my fitness by how fast I walk or how much I lift. I measure it by how alive I feel when I wake up, how steady I feel when I stand, how grateful I feel when I breathe. These are the real markers of health, the quiet indicators that your body and mind are still working together. Every day, I remind myself, the goal is not to live forever, it's to live fully. At 97, I've seen enough to know that every day is a gift. And every time I move, I unwrap it. Movement has given me clarity, stability, and peace. It's my medicine, my meditation, my celebration of being alive. The truth is, you don't need a gym membership, expensive machines, or a trainer to stay strong. You need awareness, discipline, and gratitude. You need to remember that the body is not a machine to be fixed. It's a living system designed to thrive with care. When you move it gently, it thanks you. When you ignore it, it reminds you. So I keep it 3 exercises, 3 reminders that I'm alive. Stretch to stay open, walk to stay connected, lift to stay strong. That's all I need. That's all any of us need. And when people ask me, don't you wish you could turn back time? I tell them, no, I'm exactly where I want to be. Because I've learned that the best way to stay young is not to chase youth, but to honor life. When I look back, I realized that aging didn't happen suddenly. It crept in quietly in small ways. One day you notice you can't reach quite as high. Another day, your knees whisper when you stand. For most people, that's when the story of slowing down begins. But for me, that's when the story of renewal started. Because I learned something that most people don't realize: our bodies are not designed to break down with age. They're designed to adapt. The key is to give them the right signals. And for me, those signals come through movement. When I was younger, I believed exercise was about effort and exhaustion. I thought if I wasn't sweating buckets or gasping for breath, I wasn't doing it right. But after 60, I discovered a different kind of exercise, one that strengthens you without draining you. I began to see my body as an ecosystem that thrives when you nourish it, not when you punish it. Every movement I do now is a message to my body: you matter. And the body listens to that message with remarkable loyalty. The first time I realized the power of these 3 simple exercises was after I recovered from a fall in my early 60s. It wasn't serious, but it shook me. I had always been active, but I realized that balance was not something you maintain passively. You have to train for it, nurture it, reinforce it. I started every morning with a few slow, mindful stretches. Simple movements that helped me feel my body again. I learned to shift my weight from one foot to another, to close my eyes and find my center. It was humbling, but it was also empowering, because with each day, I felt my body remembering what it once knew, that it could trust itself. That's when I started walking again, not as exercise, but as communion. I'd wake up early, step outside, and feel the morning air on my face. The rhythm of my footsteps became my meditation. I noticed how my body relaxed when I matched my breathing with my stride. I noticed how my thoughts slowed down as my heart found its steady rhythm. The world looked different when I walked. It was no longer something passing by me, but something I was part of. I could hear the wind, smell the earth, and feel a connection that no gym could offer. As I walked each day, I began to notice changes. Not dramatic ones, but steady, consistent ones. My legs grew stronger. My lungs opened wider. My heart felt calmer. I could feel the oxygen flow through my body, like a river clearing out the debris of years gone by. My digestion improved, my sleep deepened, and my mind sharpened. I wasn't chasing fitness, I was reclaiming vitality. That's what walking does. It teaches your body rhythm, patience, and persistence. It's not about how far you go, it's about showing up every day and saying, I'm still moving forward. Then came the third exercise, resistance. Not the kind that involves heavy machines or hours at the gym, but resistance that meets you where you are. I started with small weights, the kind you could lift with one hand. At first, it felt trivial. But over time, I noticed how my arms felt steadier, my back straighter, my steps more confident. Muscle, I realized, is the body's Wanghuis to life. The more you build it, the more you can do, the longer you can keep doing it. And what's beautiful about resistance training is that it doesn't just build strength, it builds resilience. When you lift a small weight, you're teaching your body that effort is safe. You're teaching your mind that growth comes from gentle challenge. I used to do push-ups against the kitchen counter, squats while brushing my teeth, or arm raises while waiting for the kettle to boil. Little moments became opportunities to move. I didn't need a schedule or a trainer. I just needed awareness. That awareness changed everything. My body wasn't something to be managed anymore. It became something to be experienced, cared for, and celebrated. In my 70s, I began noticing something interesting. My friends who stopped moving aged faster, not just physically, but mentally. They became fragile, not because of time, but because of stillness. The body, I learned, withers when it's unused. Muscles shrink, circulation slows, and even the brain dims. But when you move, everything wakes up. You send blood to your brain, nutrients to your tissues, and signals to your immune system that say, keep repairing, keep growing. It's as if every cell in your body is waiting for a reason to keep going. And movement gives it that reason. I also began to notice the emotional side of exercise. When you move every day, your mind changes. You start to feel lighter, calmer, more present. I used to think exercise was about physical health, but now I know it's about emotional balance. Moving your body moves your emotions. If you're anxious, walk. If you're tired, stretch. If you're discouraged, lift something. Every form of movement shifts your internal state. It's nature's way of clearing mental clutter. I've spent nearly 4 decades doing these same 3 exercises, and they've become a kind of moving prayer. In my 80s, I started studying more about how the body repairs itself. I learned that the body is constantly rebuilding, even in old age. Our cells renew, our blood vessels grow, our brain can form new connections. But that only happens when we give the body the right cues. And movement is one of the most powerful cues there is. When you move, you activate the production of nitric oxide, which relaxes your blood vessels. You release growth factors that help cells regenerate. You trigger the release of endorphins that elevate mood and reduce pain. Every step, every stretch, every lift sends out a cascade of healing signals that no pill can replicate. That's why I tell people, don't wait for motivation. You don't need to feel inspired to move, you just need to begin. Because movement itself creates the motivation. You move a little, you feel a little better. You feel a little better, you move a little more. That's how it grows. It's a cycle of renewal that feeds itself. The secret is to stay consistent even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. When I reached 90, I started to realize something profound. The body may age, but the systems that sustain life remain remarkably responsive. My blood pressure stayed normal. My balance remained steady. My energy didn't fade. I didn't have to rely on complicated supplements or extreme diets. I just kept moving. Slowly, intentionally, joyfully. And that movement became my fountain of youth, not in the way people imagine, but in a deeper, quieter way. I didn't stay young, I stayed alive. People sometimes ask me if I ever get tired of doing the same 3 exercises. And I tell them no, because each day feels different. My body isn't the same today as it was yesterday. Some mornings I feel light and strong, and my movements flow easily. Other days, I feel stiffness or fatigue, but I do it anyway because I've learned that consistency beats intensity every time. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. There's also something beautiful about slowing down. When you move slowly, you start noticing details. The way your muscles engage, the rhythm of your breathing, the subtle shifts in balance. It's like tuning into your body's language. Most people spend their lives disconnected from it, only noticing when something goes wrong. But when you move consciously, you start to notice before things go wrong. You become your own best doctor. I also believe that these exercises don't just strengthen the body, they strengthen gratitude. Every morning, when I stretch my arms toward the ceiling, I feel grateful that I can. Every walk is a reminder of freedom, of movement, of independence. Every small weight I lift reminds me that strength is still mine. At 97, these moments of gratitude matter more than any record or achievement. They're what make life rich. As I grow older, I also realize the importance of recovery. I no longer push myself to exhaustion. I rest when I need to. I listen when my body speaks. And in return, my body rewards me with energy, clarity, and longevity. Rest and movement are partners, not opposites. The more you respect both, the longer you stay balanced. Another thing I've learned is that health doesn't come from isolation. Movement connects you with nature, with others, with yourself. When I walk through my neighborhood, people greet me. They smile, they wave, they stop to talk. That simple human connection keeps my spirit alive. Longevity is not just about the number of years you live, it's about how connected you feel while living them. There's also a mental clarity that comes from these daily rituals. When you move every day, you sharpen your focus. You start noticing the small miracles that most people overlook. The sun rising through the trees, the coolness of the air, the pulse of your heartbeat. It's all part of the same orchestra that plays the song of life. And the more you move, the more you can hear it. I sometimes think of my 3 exercises as 3 kinds of medicine. The stretches heal my alignment, the walks heal my spirit, and the resistance heals my strength. Together they create balance, something the body craves more than anything else. Balance between flexibility and stability, effort and ease, strength and softness. When you find that balance, you stop fighting age and start flowing with it. After 60, the goal isn't to look young, it's to stay capable. You want to be able to lift your groceries, climb stairs, hug your grandchildren, dance if you feel like it. These are the small freedoms that define independence. And every time you move, you're protecting those freedoms. That's what these exercises have done for me. They've kept me independent. When I see people give up on their bodies, it saddens me. They say things like, "It's too late." For me. But I'm living proof that it's never too late. I started with 3 exercises, and they gave me decades of health. The human body has a remarkable capacity to heal, rebuild, and adapt. You just have to give it a reason to do so. Even now, at 97, I begin every morning the same way. I stretch, I breathe, I walk, I lift. It's not about perfection. Some days my steps are slow, my balance wavers, or my muscles feel tired. But every day, I remind myself that movement is a celebration of being alive. The body doesn't need to be flawless to be functional. It just needs to be loved, respected, and used. And maybe that's the greatest lesson of all, that health after 60, after 70, after 90 is not about chasing youth. It's about embracing life, one movement at a time. The 3 exercises I do aren't a secret formula. They're a reminder that simplicity is often the most powerful medicine of all. So, when I tell people I'm 97 and I only do 3 exercises after 60, I'm not sharing a trick for staying young. I'm sharing proof that life responds to care. We grow old not because time passes, but because we stop moving with it. These 3 exercises, the stretch, the walk, the lift, are not just motions of the body, they're declarations of intention. Every time I move, I'm telling my body, I still choose life, and life answers back. The truth is, longevity isn't earned in decades. It's earned in moments. The moment you decide to move instead of sitting still. The moment you breathe deeply instead of rushing. The moment you show up for your body, even when you don't feel like it. Those small moments accumulate and become years, then decades, then nearly a century of vitality. So if you remember one thing from me, let it be this: it's never too late to begin, but it's always too early to give up. The body you have right now, no matter its age, shape, or ability, is capable of renewal. All it needs is your signal. Move it, nourish it, love it, and it will keep you standing long after the world expects you to sit down. Don't wait for perfect timing, perfect health, or perfect energy. Begin where you are. Move a little today, move again tomorrow, and keep going. Because every step, every stretch, every lift is not just exercise. It's a promise to yourself that you are still alive, still strong, and still capable of writing your own story. And as long as you keep that promise, age will never define you. Motion will.